She did a recording. I recorded a video of her taking a lesson from a very famous jazz musician that she got basically an award or an opportunity to go practice with him. That one video has over 50,000 views.
That's crazy.
And you look at the video content of it. You know, a lot of videos will be fairly short, and people will watch portions of it, or they'll watch the first 10 seconds or the first 5 seconds. People have watched minutes to hours or the whole thing of this video, because people and the comments are from all over the world going, "Oh, I'm so glad, this is such a great thing. I learned so much from this guy just in this one video." And you know, it's been really cool. So
let them try stuff and find what the passion. That's important for them, and it can change obviously, but it's good to have something that you're passionate about. So
absolutely. Today on the Design, Build, Ascend channel, we have a wonderful guest that I've been working with on and off for the last probably year as we start to utilize one of his new creations. Lars has been in the industry as different capacities, and I thought I would introduce Lars Christiansen. Is that correct? Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, no.
And so Lars is based on the East Coast, but he's actually from Denmark. I think where are you located right now?
Actually, I'm more in the mid. I'm in Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah.
So Lars has a new website, and it's new to me, but it's been a while. I'm gonna have Lars talk a little bit about it. But Lars, you've been in the light industry for a little while. What has been the additional sort of capacities, and what led you to where you are today?
Well, thank you, John. Yeah, I've been with a couple of different companies in the U.S., but I started my career with Louis Poulsen Lighting. So
if you're from Denmark, you've had to have worked for
absolutely. That was my my introduction to the industry, and I was with Louis Poulsen for 10 years in Denmark in different capacities in finance, and ended up in sales. Then I went and worked for an IT company. I quit there and I started a company up in Denmark. And then after 4 or 5 years, they came back and they brought me back to Louis Poulsen and to Chicago. So that's how I ended up in Chicago and with lighting in that sense. So.
And so you're ultimately, you found a problem in the industry, and so I feel like you've tried to tackle it with this new project. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this started in about 2010 or something like that. I remember I was sitting in Florida at a sales meeting, and we saw a video of how the process the specifier have when they are, specifying lighting schedule or building lighting schedule and specifying products. And something just said to me, there must be an easier way. There must be technology out there that can help them, instead of going to 50 websites that can, collaborate all the data and make it searchable and accessible. So that's when it started, and it took a while to kind of think it through. And about 4 years ago, we started the company to develop the company, I have to say. So it's a huge database. I mean, it has a lot of things in it, a foundation that is fairly broad. And we have about 200 million SKUs that we handle and update daily. So,
yeah, I've actually seen some new changes in the website since the new year. So you guys have been doing some updates on a fairly regular basis. One of the things I noticed on the website, and I'm going to go to the website, we'll do a little bit of share screen so people can see what we're talking about.
Sure.
But one of the things I noticed was that there's a heavy element of sponsorship and advertising that's a little more prominent than has been in the past. Can you explain your business model for Light AZ, who the customer is, what the goal is, and how do you plan to operate going forward?
No, absolutely. If you take a step back, the idea was in 2005 when LED came to the market, we had an analog product and we have an analog process. And now we have a digital solution in the product side, but we're still handling the process in a very old-fashioned way, I would say. So going back to your question of how we're handling different areas of data, is that what you said, and different manufacturers, and who do we promote and stuff like that. We want to be a very diversified platform. It's a free platform for the user, right? So we want to give them access and searchability to all the different products. But as you know, it's a process. It's a process when you're adding on millions and millions of SKUs. There's only so much you can do in the time frame. And we have about 30 manufacturers, I think right now that we are implementing that will hopefully be on over the next 30 days or something like that. But
yeah, you seem to be doing a lot of onboarding, like, new products all the time. You were helping me with the Mills House specification, which is a hotel in South Carolina. The issues were I was trying to find matches of product that had a cut sheet associated with it, but ultimately the cut sheet was not in the right SKU, or not, I don't know what you call it, but it wasn't up to date. And so we actually found a fixture that wasn't updated by your manufacturer, but you were able to call them, get them to update the cut sheet, as well as the automated system of plugging the catalog part number in. So I got to see that firsthand of sort of this evolution of the product line. And I feel like there's some elements of the website that it's a little clunky. And are you familiar with how much feedback are you getting from your customers as far as, hey, I love the idea, but here's what we'd like to see?
Well, like I said before, this is like, it's a process where you develop a foundation, you change the foundation, you add new features or you add new benefits to it. But like the iPhone, I'm sure a lot of people have, you get updates every so often, right? Even at a product that's been out for 10 years. So I'm sure there's going to be updates. I'm sure there's going to be corrections and things that we can make a little bit better. This is about the experience for the user, how that journey is, how can you get the information you need in a faster, more convenient way. I always said this is about speed. This product here is about giving the information faster and more convenient than they can today.
What kind of feedback are you getting from contractors? Because I think that's really where there seems to be a process that slows down the entire, like you said, you're going from the digital world to the paper world, and contractors get a set of drawings from maybe it's a PDF, and they just they literally start emailing screenshots of this thing to the distributors. The distributors then have to recodify the information into a new digital format. Maybe it's a shop drawings, maybe it's a schedule of some sort, and then it gets sent back out to the process to get reviewed again. And I think contractors have, they may be good up to speed on the latest technologies available, but the process seems to be still very, very archaic.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely focus groups and in different segments. It could be architects, it could be line designers, it could be interior designers, and it could be engineers and contractors that we probably need to have a little bit more understanding, because they're not the same processes, obviously. All depends on who they are. So we're more than happy to hear back from some of them and see how we can make sure that the flow of information and the building of lighting schedule and printing them out and sharing them can be a little bit more easy and a little bit more intuitive. But as we talked about earlier, it's a very complex industry, even though people think lighting is just lighting. It has a ton of products. It has a ton of data that needs to be sorted out. It's a fragmented data backend. So trying to make that very simple is it's going to take a little while, I think, to come up with a formula that's a little bit open for everybody.
And you can be wrong on a cut sheet by a letter, and really screw up a project and have people start losing money because there's a letter missing. Yeah. I really like how the process can seem to be a sort of a cloud approach. I mean, that's what you've done. You're using Amazon AWS, I believe.
Yeah. We do.
And I assume you have some partners in Amazon helping you to get this thing scaled. But what is your sort of next steps for bringing the product to increase its intuitiveness? Because the format that you have is very different than most websites as far as what you would call an interactive website.
Yeah. So when we sat down and developed the first part of it, and that is the search itself, we had to make some choices, and there's a lot of choices out there that we could have done. And what we might try to make sure is that you pick a product because you know the product, you know what you're looking for. If you're looking for a post top, there's no need for you to look or get information about a pendant or tabletop. So we try to make the search criteria as simplified as possible, but have all the different data underneath it. So let's say you need a 4-inch downlight that can only be 3 inches deep in the housing with 90 CRI and with 1% dimming. We try to put all these, we decipher the whole cut sheet and put all the information in. That makes it easier and faster for the user, we believe, to get to the right information.
Well, and I really like how you can edit freely. Like, it's not like you're stuck with some sort of format that is dictated by maybe a manufacturer or a conglomerate. You basically have created a free form system that everyone else has to sort of conform to. And when there's situations where, like we have on our situation all the time, which is we'll specify something that isn't even on your catalog yet. Sure. And then there's controls, and I was going to bring that next thing. It seems like there's some holes in the offering, because I can specify a post top head, but I can't specify the pole that it goes on, right? And so I have to do that as a custom element, and then I have to take my own elements in there and insert it. What's your next, as far as expanding the database, what are your next pieces that you see?
Yeah, well, first of all, we are expanding the manufacturer's part, right, of professional lighting products. But there is a couple of things that we have been talking to other people about, and one of them is polling. Getting a pole manufacturer, or at least get that part of it as well. And also there is a whole other side of controls, and that's becoming more and more interesting. I mean, we have some controls and all these things, so we know part of it, but it's a little bit of a different industry, and maybe that has to have a sister platform for that itself. We'll see how that comes out.
Yeah, we were able to put a couple of switches in there, and if I needed a poll, I have a way to do it, so to speak. But it's not, again, you have to know the website fairly well, and it feels like it's you have the opportunity to expand on it as well as possible. So I'm going to actually bring up I'm going to share a screen here. So here's my projects. I'm just going to go back to sort of the main website here. This is what people would see if you logged in for the first time. You got some advertisement at the top, nicely done, kind of scroller. And then you can start doing some searches right away. And of course, some project highlights, which I appreciate. I can't wait to have a couple of my projects on here, or or whatever. So
might as well, yeah.
And then of course we see the Perkins residence in the Mills house. So if I just sort of click on my projects, go to my 2 projects, and click
you can click on those things. You can just click on the line that you had down there.
Yeah, I could have clicked on there. I was just showing people where to go.
Yeah.
And then right now we're in the construction document phase. I think I put that in there. I have a little snippet, but the hard part for me was just labeling and understanding what would be visible and what wouldn't be. And so a lot of people would have a description where I have FL09. That's what you kind of asked for as a description, not a part number. I love the idea of being able to have a part number there. And so maybe
no. Yeah. So the key here is that is the tag number, right? So that is where the product goes normally. So the FL14 you have there, FL15, that is normally on the drawings where the product goes. So that would be the tag number. If you click on the product itself, it should have the spec number right there if you have configured it.
Yeah, so let's pick one here. So I'm going to pick a downlight FL06. So I'll just click on it. And so it comes up, and in the top right-hand corner, I'm going to close this, the top left-hand corner, I got FL06, and then the part number is partially filled out at the best we can at this point. Yeah. Which I like is you can do your custom configuration and you can figure out what we're still missing. So, you know, the drywall thickness, I can't specify at this point. Sure. And then of course the options for the hanger, if I select it now and the contractor orders it without actually confirming it, since I don't know, I'm kind of guessing it could be wood joist, it could be flat bar, who knows, then I screw the contractor. So I feel like there's a nice process here where it gets partially filled out and it gets shown in blanks, right? There's little lines underneath there. And as a result, they say, well, it's not finished. Who can fill this out? And maybe it's the contractor, maybe it's the architect, maybe they can call me and say, okay, did you decide on if you wanted a trim to be black or white? In this case, the ceiling's black, so the trim is black. So this is a really great system. And then what we're able to do is to, you know, we've got some custom elements here too. So if we go to FL08, for example, FL08.
You want to close that one down in the bottom there.
Oh yeah, gotta close that. And if I click on FL08, thank you for doing that. You'll see it. I filled out a lot of this information, but it's something it's not even really something that a contractor would buy through a distributor. It's something they would buy online because it's just not a very expensive product, and there's no point in and maybe it's not even, maybe I found it on Amazon, for example. And of course you can buy various kinds of things. There it is, the Hudson bulb lamp. Gotta close this one. Yeah. You know, they wanted a little flicker light to go. So I filled this out, put a cut sheet in there. What I would like to be able to do is update that cut sheet page. This, you know, see where you see that little bulb there? Yeah. I would love to be able to update that after I create the fixture. But right now, there's no way to update that image. So if I say that image needs to be updated or changed, I can't do it. I have to literally start a new folder. I start a new fixture type. So
you're asking about updating the pictures that you have added on. Go in and edit that. Yep. Okay, I think so. That's we could do. Yeah.
If you could do that, that would be a huge time saver, because I'll come in and I'll pick one of these fixture types, like for example FL16, let's say, and I'll update the image myself because it's not in there. Maybe this one it is, but let's say we're back to this one, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe she doesn't like, the interior designer doesn't like this flickering flame fixture. I can change it, but I don't want to change the FL24. So I can update it all here, but then I have to change the image somehow, and I can't do it. So I have to literally start from scratch.
You could go in and copy that product, by the way.
Of course.
And then you can delete the other ones. Yeah, but yeah, we should have the edit. Absolutely.
So that would be a great change. I would love to see. But again, you know, just sort of the intuitiveness. Remind me again how I would send a submittal package based off of this, right? So I'm here, and it's done. I can share the project, and I send the project to RF or rep and then manufacturer. So if I click on that,
well, first of all, you have to scroll up a little bit, and it will ask you, do you want to send all 39? If you go down a little bit,
right here it is.
Select do you want to send all of them or not? And then you can just email that, and they will get it. They will open up the same project, and they can save it, and they can send it back to you with information if they want.
Yeah, which we've already done a couple of times, so it's been great.
So now if you X that out, you have the export schedule, which means that it creates the Excel spreadsheet automatically. So you click on it, and it asks you, do you want to select all of them? Yes.
Yeah.
As soon as you click on that, it will start building an Excel spreadsheet for you automatically, which will save you time in typing that in or copy and paste that into a spreadsheet.
But it doesn't also do the little thumbnail. If it would add the thumbnail to the schedule, that would be huge, because we were able to get all the data that we typed in. But I also have to, these photos I put in my schedules all the time, so that, because it's just visually. The more visual you can add to the job, the better.
Yeah.
And so the schedule doesn't have the photos, which I would like to also have. So if it was Christmas, these are one of the things I would be asking for.
Okay, so you wanted, so you're asking for pictures on the Excel spreadsheet, or do you want it on the printout? Because it's already in the printout.
It's already on the printout. I'm talking about the actual schedule.
Okay, so the Excel.
Yeah, on the Excel. So just wish lists for things that I like, that I've seen already working on the product. And again, I'm trying to be critical, because I feel like, you need to get customer feedback.
Oh, absolutely.
And I may be just one guy, but I can put on a lot of different hats and then view it from those perspectives and give you that feedback. So
no, we appreciate it, John. We want you to be direct and informative to us, because that's the only way we can move the needle. If everybody says this looks great, it's going backwards. So we need to move forward. We need to come up with things that makes the journey a little bit easier for you, and not only for you, but for everybody. And some of these things here, I can see that we can probably do those things. It's just a matter of looking at it and make sure that it works afterwards. So,
the one other element that I wanted to bring up was the concept of pricing. One of the things I've noticed, I had a conference call yesterday with Monterey Lighting, and one of the things that they bring up is they're offering as a distributor, is they use line item pricing, and by sharing line item pricing to their customers, they can see where their money's going, and they can make educated decisions like, that fixture may be expensive, but I only have 4 of them, and so I'll take it in exchange for an alternative to maybe the exit signs, so that I can get more value for my buck. So I think this solves one of the problems, which is communications at a digital level that can be stored and shared over time in the cloud, which is great. But right now, we still go from here to submittals that have a price to it that oftentimes may or not be hidden. And again, the value through this process should be that people know what they're buying. And is there any discussion about including pricing or getting involved with distributors that will take this information and provide pricing that people can use?
Well, pricing is a lot of different things, right? The price that you see as a DN price, this different net price, is one thing. The price normally, as far as I remember when I was in the field, is driven by quantities, and it's driven by who is the job to. It could be the contractor, distributor. It could be many different things, and it changes all the time. Obviously, prices increases or decreases, but essentially, it's a different animal because the price that you're actually going to pay for it, if it's a lot of people have, a lot of cities has, it's a package town. So the price is packaged in the city or in the full job. But who knows what's going to happen in the future in the industry if it becomes more transparent in that sense. But the DN price is not necessarily the price you're going to pay anyway, with the value engineering and everything happening in the industry. So, but to get an indication, that's what you're probably looking for. I don't know. We will have to see how the market reacts and over the next maybe 12 months on these things here. But
it would be nice. It would be interesting, right? It would be interesting to see what it took to see pricing, maybe at the DN level, maybe at MRSP, just pricing, so that people can start to say, okay, here's the fixture type. You actually don't have a place for quantities yet, do you? You don't even have quantities as an option.
No, we could add that on. So that's an easy one, and we probably will add that on.
I think you should. I think that would be a great addition, because in fact, you could actually have a couple of quantities. Like one is, estimated quantities, and then, takeoff quantities. It could be a way where, the designer says, well, we roughly think there's 100 here, but until the job gets, through CDs, we won't know. And then that's the other element, is that, once you produce a construction document, that becomes a legal document, legally binded document. And if you miss something on the drawing that says, okay, I counted 36 fixtures, and then maybe this document here doesn't include the 36, maybe it includes 34. And so someone says, well, I was just going off the Light AZ website, and they said there was only 34. But the drawing actually says 36, so you owe me 2 more fixtures. I think that's, maybe the quantity needs to be clarified as far as how it's, how that information was shared.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The same thing we do with the SKU configuration we build, right? We tell people this is a guideline for how the spec sheet looks like, but they should always, make sure that they look at the spec sheet, they talk to the rep and the manufacturers before anything is final. So, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong in that process, or change in that process. So yeah, we definitely don't want to, we're not in the business to make legal documents for you guys or for anybody else. We want to help you find the products very easy for you. And the legal documents normally lies with the manufacturer's spec sheet and the drawings and all the part of that.
Yeah, and you're gonna, as you get more and more integrated into the construction industry, you're gonna end up having more and more legal requirements, just because people are using your documents. I mean, I'm actually using your links as a way to communicate the design to our design team, so they have to use that information. I'm actually purposely not including it in another format so that they have to use it, so it becomes a cloud-based solution. But at a certain point, they have to provide submittals. They have to provide a package, and so we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
it's not going to come through Light AZ. It's going to come through the contractor, through the interior designer, and as an email to us. And so the Light AZ program, I could see it also being utilized, later on in future development, is to streamline that process. Because right now, everyone does it on their own, and by creating some standardization in your cut sheets, for example, when you create, your system automates that cut sheet. It puts our little logo at the top. It adds information along the top. All of those things are really great. But at the end of the day, if that information was actually able to work its way back through the entire process chain, would it be even better? And so hopefully maybe that's what's happening. And maybe that's one of the things. So in 2022, we're meeting at the last breaths of January, and we've got 4 more quarters to go. What is the business plan for Light AZ for 2022 moving forward?
Well, like we talked about earlier, I mean, that's a lot of things that are being implemented right now. Not only manufacturers and products, but also features and benefits that will tighten up and also collaborate with some of these things that you're talking about. It could be rapid fires, it could be other things that you can get that information right off the bat. That can make it easier for you to get what you need. It all depends where you are. But I think this year is going to be about solidifying some of these things that we already have. Make sure that they are foundationally going in the right direction. Be able to scale up, and maybe also incorporate some other industries to see how can we have synergy with not only this part of the process, but the broader part of the process. And that could be closer involvement with with the manufacturer's part, or it could be the distributor part, or it could be something completely different, other software companies.
Yeah, I really like the idea of connecting yourself to distributors, because that's where the process falls apart, right? Because the distributor has to take this information and then parse it again into their system. If you were able to be more integrated with them, I think the process would be amazing to see how that evolves. So yeah, any final thoughts? I mean, I think we've nailed everything. I'm gonna, in the video I'll bring up some overlays and show some more samples of how the website works. But I was a fan, and that's why I wanted to get you on the podcast, because
I love it, and I like. Yeah, I really like your comments. I think that's what we need more of. A lot of people accept what we have and say, this is great, and we'll just use it. But we cannot move forward without having critical thinking and come with ideas for us to move along and move the needle to be even better. So I'm very grateful for that.
Well, maybe what will end up happening is people will make comments in the YouTube video about their complaints about the process, and I can forward that to you.
Yeah,
we'll put all your information on the website and on the YouTube, so people can follow it and download their own version of it and get people to start testing it out. And maybe what I'll do is another a YouTube video of how to use it a little bit more. So, I would
love. You know what? Where are you sitting physically? Are you on the West Coast? I know, but
yeah. Orange County, California,
okay.
Los Angeles.
Because we are looking at hiring somebody from the West Coast, and I would be happy to send her or him, whatever it's going to be, to do a little interview and say how, asking you, what do you like about it, what don't you like about it, and we can use that as well. So
bring them into the studio. We'll have fun with it.
Yeah, no, I would love that. But I think there's a lot of things that we can do differently. There's also some of the intuitiveness, the website itself, that can be a little bit more tightened up and how these things are connected. But we are handling a fairly big ship. It's a lot of data and a lot of interactions in a system like this. So we just need to be careful. But we are. I think we are.
No, you're doing great. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope this helps bring awareness to your website. And I've already got a couple of projects in there. We'll be continuing to take that information and use it for the next, for future projects. I love that because I can pull in to, for example, create a package for downlights and some linears and maybe some things that I would normally use all the time for every project. I can go in to that website, copy and paste over to the new job. And then if the contractor, if the manufacturer has updated their information, I don't have to search for it. I don't have to find out if it is. It has a little triangle that says, okay, this cut sheet is now up to date and you are behind the.
Yeah, it's been updated. You need to just go in and verify that it's up to date.
So I love that. And I think that's one of the benefits I can see moving forward, because I can say, well, I like the intense downlight, and I didn't know that the cut sheet didn't get updated because I've only, I specified it for the same fixture for the last 10 years. Why should I have to check the cut sheet? Well, you kind of need to do that work, but a lot of times people don't. And I think this is a huge asset for the design community. I think it helps communicate it also to people outside of lighting. It was a little clunky, like I said, when we shared this with our interior designers and our electrical engineers, for them to understand how to access the information. But it worked because they called up and said, hey, this cut sheet's old. And so I was able to get a hold of you. And
I will tell you this, we do about 10 to 15,000 cut sheet changes a month. So it's not.
I imagine that's going to be. I imagine that's going to triple over time.
Yeah,
that's a full-time job, I'm sure. So.
Well, thank you so much. I hope that we are you going to any shows at one point? Any light shows you think? Anything out there?
There's a show coming up that I'm probably not going to attend because it's in LA and COVID restrictions. I just don't like to go to things that. During those events. So if things cool down, I'll probably start attending. I'd like to go to Light Fair in Vegas.
Yeah.
And maybe at that point we can meet up and kick around more of this. So Lars, it's been a real pleasure, and I hope people really appreciate the time that we spend on this website, and I hope they all take the time to learn it, because I think it's going to be an asset to the community. So,
Oh,
thanks
thank you
again.
so much. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for having me in, and have a great weekend. And I hope we see each other in Vegas. Denmark is opening up COVID restrictions in the 3 days, so they're totally open. I hope that's the right choice, but we'll see. Take care.
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.